My name is Drew Borders, and I am a muralist, illustrator, and animator based in Atlanta, Georgia. Honestly, as long as I can remember, I've always been interested in art. I would sketch cartoons, anime characters that I really liked with my siblings after school all the time. It was kind of a problem. I was drawing when I shouldn't have been. Like in class, I would take my sketchbook if we ever went out to dinner, any type of road trip. So all the time I was always trying to get some type of sketching in. And I just really, really liked it. It was kind of like an escape. I could kind of forget about everything else that was happening and invent my own world in a sense. And then at a certain point, I realized that there are people who actually get paid to do that. So that kind of became my goal from a very young age. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to make stuff that made other people feel good. Some of the first artists I ever discovered online that I really liked that impacted my style was off of DeviantArt, that website, and it kind of started growing from there. You know, I was attracted to artists like Loish, who does very, very like dynamic characters, landscapes, bright colors, big eyes. It was exactly what I wanted to be doing. So those types of artists really inspired me. I love bright blues, pinks, especially like hot pinks, yellows, greens. Most of my colors, I think, are pretty vibrant. When I draw people, particularly people of color, I think it's fun to play around with color theory. So instead of necessarily going for browns, I might do reds, purples, trying to see what I can get away with and still make it look right or accurate. So I think I stay mostly on the warmer side of the color wheel, but I am starting to appreciate more cooler tones, desaturated tones, because I think together it really just emphasizes the colors that I'm most drawn to, like those bright pinks and yellows and stuff like that. Everybody has different body types regardless of gender, but I really enjoy drawing softer features, curvier features. And personally, I just always wanted to represent women who look like me, women with darker complexions from different cultures in a positive and fun light. And I find that to be very interesting. I do like, and I am starting to incorporate more men into the work that I do. I mean, even since I was a kid, you know, it was the female superheroes and the women in different TV shows that I gravitated towards. The way that I think about designing is kind of the same way that I think about animating, following 12 principles, trying to get movement, weight, the composition, the line of action correct. I think about it as if I'm animating something because I think it's a lot more interesting. It adds more life to a character. It's something that I think people are drawn to when you see a character moving, doing something that's relatable, not looking so static, where portraits are nice, but they don't always invite you into what's really happening in the scene. It's hard to be an artist and choose that as your profession because I think, as we all know, you know, some days you're motivated and sometimes you're burnt out and you have no ideas, but you know, your livelihood kind of depends on what you can put out and who's interested in what. So I think making your passion your work is a good thing, but sometimes a double-edged sword, because I am getting to the point where now most of my work isn't really just, you know, a fun doodle that I did just because I wanted to, but something that I'm thinking about in terms of, well, how can I sell this? Or I'm doing it for a client who wants something very specific. So I think it is like a balance of trying to do both things, like carving out that time for yourself, but then still trying to make sure you have time to do all your projects and, you know, keep surviving based off of this stuff. So yeah, I think I just need new hobbies. Art used to be my hobby. So now I have to find something, as weird as it is, that's an escape from art. I think we're all, you know, the sum of our parts. So my family, the history in my family, all the work that they've done to get us to where we are right now, my friends, other artists, all of those people inspire me in some way, shape, or form. I think that that has heavily impacted my art style, pushed me to work harder, pushed me to try different things that have all kind of evolved into something that is uniquely mine. So I don't want to say that I myself stand out or am truly unique. I think everybody has really impacted me in some way, and that has shaped me to be slightly different from somebody else. I enjoy the reactions from people because I really am trying to get people to see themselves in my work. It's kind of one of the reasons that I never really paint real figures. I would much rather be somebody who they can kind of relate to, whether it's the feeling, whether it's how they look, whether it's, you know, what the character is doing. It means so much when people are like, oh, that changed the way that I thought about this. That is something that I really admire, especially when kids go up to it and they look at it and they're like, I want to do that too. Because that's why I started, is because I was a kid who saw something and I wanted to do it too. When you first start out doing something and nobody really knows who you are, there's so much freedom in that, because it's like you can do anything almost without consequence. Nobody's watching you. You have yet to receive expectations from other people of work they think that you should be making. So if anything, I feel like that's the best part about starting something new, is that you can do it without anybody else's opinion. I feel like people are so, and myself too, like so caught up in that idea of being somebody that people know. And then it's like you get there and it's like, this is kind of limiting, because now people have a certain expectation about what you should put out, the quality that it should be. And I feel like you're even harder on yourself when you get to that point. So yeah, I feel very strongly about that. There's so much freedom in starting something new, for sure. Everybody has creativity inside them and some level of sensitivity, but I do feel like artists in particular are a little more sensitive to experiences than most people are. So for me, it's just an outlet to express that, because I feel like if I didn't do it and I just kept everything inside, I would explode from all of the thoughts that I have, or all of the emotions and deep feelings that I have. And it can be therapeutic to put that out there, and it is difficult. I know a lot of artists, myself too, struggle with telling people the truth, telling people how we really think and how we really feel. But at the same time, that is the best work that I think I've created. And I think that's the best work that other artists create, when you get a glimpse into how they really feel and what they're really going through. Because it's raw and it's unfiltered, and there's always going to be somebody out there who resonates with it, because they might be going through the same thing. Art has made me realize how critical people are of themselves, and how sometimes the ego is in the way. They assume that I do this for the first time, it should be easy. And if it's not easy, then it's frustrating and they don't want to try and they're just not made for it. So it's made me look at our culture differently and try to examine and figure out why we're like that, why we're so hard on ourselves, why we don't give ourselves grace, why we feel like we have to be an expert. I mentioned that I wanted people to see themselves, which ultimately means I want them to feel less alone. I want them to look at it and feel like somebody else feels this way too. And somebody else has very accurately described the experience that I'm going through. Because I think that was really all I wanted. Like as a kid, you know, everybody's childhood is different, but I felt very sensitive. I felt very emotional, and I really wanted not just an outlet by that, but to not feel crazy for feeling sensitive or emotional. And so it's nice to be connected with somebody who validates how you feel, somebody who can accurately describe it, because then you don't feel like an outsider. You feel like you belong. So that's what I really wanted people to get from my work. I want to be connected with other people. I make stuff that is about me, but I also make stuff that I want others to feel connected to, stuff that's about them too, that can be somewhat universal. So I guess I'm trying to build a community with my work. My name is Drew Borders. I am a muralist, illustrator, and animator based in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is my voice, and this is my life.